Welcome back to the Sala Takeover, powered by Millennium TV. It's your main man, Rubio, back at it again, alongside my brother, Willie Will. Holla at the people, Will.
What's up, my brother? What's up, peoples? How's everybody doing, man? Glad to be back, man. Happy that we're back and at it, you know?
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, my brother, man. And you know how we do, man. Let's start off the show right, man. Let's keep the people updated and keep them informed, man. What we got for them today, man?
Absolutely. So usually we start with an update, with us here in the U.S. and what's going on with the coronavirus. But I thought it was important for us to touch on outside of the U.S., basically with India. I read an article that came out on the World News, and it's a little concerning. What they're saying. So basically what's going on right now in India is what they're calling system collapse. It's like COVID hell in India. That's how they're actually stating it in the article. So basically what they're stating is how bad the situation is in India. It's probably the worst that any other place is going through right now.
So it's probably the worst that it's been since the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. Like while we're going through better times and we're getting vaccinated and our cases are still up there, but they're not out of control. India's cases are out of control because basically, so at the end of what's going on is that India is going through a political race. So the Prime Minister of India, Mahendra Modi. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, sir. So what's going on is that
good try.
What they're doing is that they're downplaying the situation in India. They restarted. Basically, they opened up again. Businesses and a lot of facilities are open a little bit too soon. Even after back in February, the doctors, like the main doctors in India, was saying that they were going to go through a second wave, or they were starting a second wave in February. And that second wave was basically of the variant. So imagine we were scared of the variant about a month ago. India started going through the variant in February, and the variant is a little bit harder to deal with because it travels faster. It basically affects, the person faster. So their positive cases are actually between 20 and 30-year-old adults, which is a little bit shocking because mostly we heard of the cases being happening to people with underlying situations and older adults in their 60s and 50s or whatever the case may be. Yeah. So it's really difficult to read this because India is basically going through a shortage of
all supplies.
Supplies, yeah. They're short on vaccines. Vaccines, forget about it. They're short on oxygen. They're short on drugs like remdesivir, which was used here to combat and to fight the virus.
I think we were talking about a little bit the what's it called, Remdesivir. Remdesivir is actually is an antibiotic taken to actually help with the respiratory issues.
Exactly. Right. But even they're short on that. But even the main thing that they use, which is oxygen in tanks, however they administer it to help people.
Respirators, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah. They're short. They're short on beds. They're short on oxygen. They're short on respirators. So
with the immense population of India, when you're short of supplies, it's going to be catastrophic.
Absolutely.
And that's something that we, it's very, it's disappointing and it's sad because at the end of the day, we as things get better here in the States, let's be real, the whole COVID situation is all worldwide. We have so many people and so many races here, and we have family members everywhere.
Yeah.
So if it's affecting India, whatever it may, India, wherever, or any other country, it also affects here, and that's where the worry is because. Sure,
and one of the reasons I wanted to bring it up was because I don't think we've heard much about other countries and what's going on. As far as we're hearing a lot of the positive news, but we're not hearing about a lot of the negative stuff that's going on, and the countries that are not doing so well. So it's really sad that they're going through this situation, being that there's, like you said, such a large population of people. And it's because of their leaders not doing the right thing. Basically, their leaders are failing the Indian people. Mostly, Prime Minister Modi, I believe his name is. They're failing the public. They're failing people because they want to show face. they want to make sure they get reelected into these political positions.
So yet again, a political race is affecting the livelihood of the population. Of a nation.
But like 10 times worse than we actually saw here in this country, which we all know how it happened here, where it was downplayed here as well because things were going on, and you wanted the population to feel comfortable and to say that you were doing the right thing and that you were putting the resources into combating this situation. But in India, unfortunately, right now, that's just not happening.
No, I mean, what is being done in India right now? Like, I get it. I think we did touch up lightly on it. On you saying that a lot of the train system is being used as
they're using the train
like rolling medical units.
Yeah, we've all seen these big trains in India transporting people back and forth. So basically what they're doing is that they're actually using these trains right now to be a transportation for oxygen and to administer oxygen to the Indian people. Again, they're running out of beds. They don't have any. I read a story. Part of the story that I read was a gentleman who's a cab driver, and basically he was trying to get his niece into a hospital. So he got her through some connections an oxygen tank, or to administer. And she was 25 years old, the mother of one child, and she came down with COVID, and he brought her to about 10 hospitals, and she wasn't able to get a bed. And then finally he got her to like a 6-bed, a really small clinic where they converted into a COVID clinic, and she was able to get a bed. But unfortunately she passed away. She didn't make it. So it was just one example of what's going on and how people are desperate. It just sounds like a really, really desperate situation.
Well, I mean, listen, man, with the things getting crazier they are, man, or at least over there, we all have to take precaution, of course. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a short commercial break. We're gonna be right back. Excuse me. We're gonna be right back. We're gonna keep on touching up on this COVID situation. Mind my cough, right? We're talking about COVID. All of a sudden, I'm coughing.
No, bro.
Luckily, we're social distancing, my friend.
Yeah, it's 100%. What's going on here?
Listen, stay tuned. We're gonna take a short commercial break. We'll be right back.
All right, brother.
Welcome back to the Sala Takeover, powered by Millennium TV. It's your main man, Rubio, back at it again. My brother, Willie Will. Let them know what we got for them now, man.
Hey, what's up, my brother? Listen, so we ended off on the last segment on the regression that India is going through right now with the pandemic, and how bad it is, and how horribly they've handled the situation in India. But
it feels like they're regressing, to be honest.
Definitely, man. And again, we go back to when we started with the pandemic and all the misinformation that we got, and we were about to go through a political race, and it seems very similar to what happened here. But unfortunately, it wasn't as bad here because we actually, our doctors and our government officials were a little bit more, on top of the situation. Unfortunately, India doesn't seem to be.
Regardless of the political situation.
Yeah, absolutely. But in a positive note, I read an article in the Newsday as well, which was talking about how they were a little bit skeptical about the pause to the Johnson & Johnson vaccine because they were saying that it might have jeopardized the vaccine rollout in the United States. So there were people that were scared, with the pause of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, like I said before, because they thought that the people that were already skeptical about taking the vaccine were going to regress even more. And whoever was for taking the vaccine might have joined those people and regressed as well. But what happened was that the pause actually gave confidence to the American people
added security,
right? Towards how people felt about taking the vaccine. because at the end of the day, what they were saying is at least they're being responsible with the rollout and with the information that they're giving the American people.
Well, correct, because as we stated before in the previous show, what was going on with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, there were 6 cases in females that they actually had blood clots conjure up because of the vaccinations.
Right, but
people were very skeptical of it, and besides people already being skeptical of it, I think it did deter a lot of people still.
Yeah,
but like we were just stating, it definitely adds more security because because
they're showing that they're being responsible, right?
Yes, they're showing that they're keeping a heavy eye on it, making sure that things still going accordingly. Yeah. Now, the vaccine is definitely being rolled out, and more people being able to be vaccinated. So as we continue to do that, man, like we can just hope that as the U.S. more people continue to get vaccinated, and that India actually can get it together or get the resources needed to
hopefully they can get some help. Hopefully they can get some help from people like the United States who have already been who have been successful with the vaccine rollout and with protocols. But at the end of the day, like we've been feeding you and the government has been feeding you, you have to maintain your vaccine protocols. I mean, your COVID protocols in order to help it. The mask mandates and the 6, the distancing, the social distancing. Yeah. I mean, you know what it is? The positive outlook on this is that the people that are against the vaccine is about 20% of the population. Mm-hmm. So that 20% of the population, no matter what, they're not going to be for the vaccine. They're not going to want to get vaccinated. As a matter of fact, in the same article, they were stating that some of these groups of people have been trying to get, like we were speaking about the vaccine passport, they were trying to get fake vaccine cards stating that they got the vaccine in order to be able to get into venues.
Come on, man.
Yeah, so you know what? You don't want to get vaccinated, but you understand that you have to follow the protocols.
I mean, listen.
Again, the positive view of this is that it didn't bring out a negative light towards the vaccines. It brought a positive light because at this point, 200 million shots have been administered to the American people.
Which is a huge number, man. And
of course, that's more than half of the adults of the United States.
As things continue to get better in the States, more people continue to get vaccinated. We also have another victory in the U.S. as in the state that Derek Chauvin was actually convicted for the murder of George Floyd. A lot of teams and a lot of CEOs had statements to state on it,
and players, of course, from a lot of these things
had statements to say of this trial, man. And it was, and this verdict, everybody was weighing on it. It was very tense for the U.S., and for the state of Minnesota. But it was
for everybody. It was for everybody. Everybody was on top of this, man. Everybody was waiting for this for this verdict to come through because it could have been, it's day and night, basically what the reaction would have been if it would have been a guilty or if he would have been, not, found not guilty of these charges. So
with the situations going on in the U.S., like I think like we stated before, it weighed heavy based on the verdict. And
yeah, of course.
I mean, everybody was waiting on the decision. A lot of things are still going on, and and all we can do is just hope that things continue to get better.
No, of course. I mean, and in the midst of all of this, there was still stuff going on, like the 15-year-old girl that got shot by police. So that became a whole nother story. During the story, basically, like touching back to what you were saying. Even for example, LeBron James, as soon as it happened, he tweeted out accountability. Mm-hmm. So the overall reaction by the sports entities like the NBA, the NHL, the NFL, as well as the players was accountability was given, was shown, was done. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just a trial where you saw what happened. And going back to what we referred to, the Rodney King trials, where we visibly saw him getting beat up by police, and then they were acquitted on these charges. Derek Chauvin was actually was guilty of these charges, as per the jurors and the courts and everything, and the verdict. So it kind of gives you a little bit of hope that there is accountability within these people and that they are going to do the right thing. I mean, because there was no other verdict to be given. You know, there was no other situation. There was no other. How else were you going to explain a not guilty verdict in this situation
Well,
when the whole world saw this man die in front of our eyes?
what we're gonna do is Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, actually tweeted out his statement based on the opinion of the verdict.
Mm-hmm.
And he said today's verdict was just, but as Dr. Martin Luther King wrote, justice for Black people will not flow into society merely from court decisions, nor from fountains of political oratory. Justice for Black people cannot be achieved without radical changes in the structure of our society.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, this is a step going forward, but a lot needs to be done. With that being said, man, listen, we're going to continue to roll on. We're going to take a short commercial break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Don't go nowhere.
We'll be right back, Pops.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Sala Takeover, powered by Millennium TV. Your main man, Rubio, back at it again alongside my brother, Willie Will. Willie Will, man, we were talking about, we left the last segment talking about Tim Cook making a statement on what was going on with the whole verdict of the George Floyd trial.
Yeah.
And speaking of Apple, though, Apple just had their second virtual event where they released a new line of Macs. You know, they went back a little bit old school and they changed it. So now the Macs have a boatload of colors now.
Yeah. There's basically, this is their first redesign of the Mac since 2012. Yeah. You know, they're coming back. You know, it became like a very professional, very monotone colored, type of situation, right? Because they were catering to the professional person out there, that wanted to look sharp. But they're bringing back the colors. They're bringing back a whole array of greens and oranges and purples when it comes to their Macs, which is kind of cool. You know what I mean? They're making it fun again. Which is cool, which is good.
I think this adds to this generation where, you can still run your business, but have vibrant colors in it.
Of course.
Like you said, there's nothing wrong with the older iMac design where it was the black and gray. It was nice, clean, sharp, very simple. But now with the new iMacs, we do know that it has a thinner bezel. It's more display to it. The stand is different from what we've seen. It's more squared off. And I think
they actually made it 24 inches back from, it was 21 inches, and now it's a 24-inch screen, which is bigger. It's nice, they
reduced the bezel size, so now you can add more screen landscape, as they call it, in there.
Right. So a lot of these changes again are gearing towards what has been happening for the last year. Where now people, like you said before, they were geared towards the professional, person that was out there working and wanted to look sharp. But now, since you have people, because of the pandemic, staying home and working from home, they want to make it fun again. They want to make it colorful. They want to make it
relatable. Make it relatable.
Right. They want to make it relatable to the person that
Don't get me wrong. Because back in the day, man, when those iMacs came out, man, a lot of people were like, "Wow, man, like that color."
Yeah. It was
good. Love the color, man.
Right, but now you're home and you're teaching your kids. You're schooling your kids from from home. They're on their computers, they're on their iMacs, doing virtual learning. Yeah. You're staying home to do work and things like that. So they're making it fun again, I think, to stay home. They're making the screen bigger. They've improved on their cameras, to make sure that, again, because of like we're doing right now, actually, we're on a Zoom call recording our show and everything else. So what they're doing to the iMac is that they improve the camera, the speaker quality, so that you're able to do what we're doing right now in a higher quality.
Let's not forget, they're all running on the new M1 chip
Yes, which is a much faster processing system, which is also adapting to the 5G network, which is supposed to be a higher velocity, a higher a higher speed. So the M1 chip is actually going to be able to manage that higher speed. So imagine how fast your Apple products were before. Now they're like stupid fast, like with the the New York talk.
Well, listen, I think the great thing about it is that with this new M1 chip, like I know it's not compatible to older Apple devices because the new keyboard, actually the new wireless.
But
keyboard,
Apple, like but Apple has they like doing that. They like to make sure that you're buying the new product.
Of course, because the new Magic Keyboard that comes with the new Mac, the new iMac, has the touch sensor.
Yeah, exactly.
It has a fingerprint sensor, so you can unlock your iMac. But it is
they don't want your kids getting into your computer.
Exactly, but it's not compatible. But it's not compatible with the older iMacs. So
right.
You can't use the older keyboard with the new computer. You can't use the new keyboard with the old computer.
Like I said,
they definitely work. They work it, man. They know how to get the money.
But you have to figure out a way to also make money. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want to sell a product, right? Like for example, if you buy an Android and you buy a charger, my man, like the whole family could use one charger technically, you know what I mean? Apple does have it where you have to buy different devices. With the different devices, you have to buy different chargers.
Correct.
Sometimes, they design it a little bit different. You can't blame them for that. They're just trying to make money. They're just trying to make sure that
you don't think they made enough.
Yeah, but they're a company. At the end of the day, that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to make money.
And I want to touch up on this a little bit before we go into our commercial break. And we discussed this earlier. The thing with Apple is they have a ecosystem. Their ecosystem is subpar, or not subpar. I'm sorry, it's excellent.
No, it's
where everything synchronizes perfully within itself.
You just have to know you have to make sure you know how to get into your settings. and if you're one of these people that types, funny stuff on your phone, and you have
it's not going to work well for you. It's not going to work.
No, you have a family member with an iPad, you might be compromised.
But it's great because, everything is in sync from your watch to
it's cool. It's cool. It's very cool.
iMac to your tablet, man. So I think it's pretty good.
Did you see the AirTags the AirTags that they're creating? That's amazing, man. That's so dope.
Yeah,
so basically the AirTags are gonna you'll be able to follow your AirTags, which is like a little device
which are customizable.
Right. That you can get different colors, I believe, and different designs.
Well, they have different cases for it. You can actually get emojis. You can get names on it.
Right. And what you do is you put them into your luggage. For example, if you're traveling, you put one of the AirTags in your luggage. You can locate your luggage if it's lost or if you can't find it. And at the same time, imagine if your wife gets a hand of AirTag and you're hanging out and
just drop it in the car real quick.
Drop it in the trunk of the car, real quick. But it's a
back
cool
pocket or your jacket pocket. Oh,
listen. At the end of the day, if you're a good guy and you're not,
there's no worries.
If you don't have extracurricular activities going on, you don't have to worry about your iPad syncing in with your iPhone, AirTags, telling your wife where you're at, whatever it is. But it's actually it's a very cool, like you said, like
it is
ecosystem that they have going on where you can do different things, and it caters to what's going on today. It's a different world. You're more concerned about your children. Your children are out there by themselves a lot more, taking a bus, taking a train. These are good devices to have to be able to keep track, keep tabs of your family.
And before we go to commercial break, also, I just want to add in that the AirTags are cheap. They're not that even expensive. I think the AirTag is about $35 to $40.
Yeah, it isn't anything crazy.
They actually have a value pack if you get 4 for $100.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
No, I'm sorry. They're 35. Yeah, they're 35 each individually, or 100 for 4. And you can customize them. You would get your name on them. You would get emojis on them. They get engraved in them, and they, like you said, they do have like cases for them also.
Yeah, like everything else, like the headsets, like the watch. Everything pretty much will work together. Yeah. Like you can probably find your luggage through your watch. Yep. With the AirTag system and all that, which is pretty cool, man. Apple is doing something pretty cool with the devices.
Apple is doing what they do, man, and just capitalizing on the situation, and their ecosystem is going to work great. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see these things. I'm excited to probably get my hands on them and test them out. With that being said, we're gonna take a short commercial break, man. We'll be right back, man. So stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody, to Sala Takeover, powered by Millennium TV. The main man Rubio back alongside my brother Willie Will. Willie Will, man, what's going on, man?
What's up, my brother? What's up? Listen, so we're gonna talk about a story, but just to cut all the seriousness. We're gonna touch on A-Rod and J-Lo, like what was that situation? So basically, it seems like J-Lo dumped A-Rod. I think in a nutshell, that's what it looks like happened. What do you think?
Well, listen, A-Rod and J-Lo were kind of America's couple. As much as people hate A-Rod, also they enjoyed him. No,
I don't know if I call them America's couple.
Listen, no, because you know what it was? They enjoyed seeing them together, like their relationship. A lot of people, I think, were tuned into their Instagrams because they did have that connection and bond. So I think that, a lot of people were also disappointed when they split up. But being per sources now, J-Lo has said that it is definite that they are split up because people thought that, maybe there's a chance they might get back together. Maybe there's some...
Yeah, but that happened.
J-Lo put the nail in the coffin. She said
that happened a couple of weeks ago. That was a couple of weeks ago where they supposedly split up and then they were okay or whatever it was.
But people still thought that there was a chance there because they were still hanging out. They still are in business together. But J-Lo did release a statement per sources that it is definite due to the fact that she feels that she cannot trust A-Rod. Now, A-Rod does not, as we talked about earlier. A-Rod does not have the greatest track record.
No, A-Rod has a horrible track record.
Maybe he's from Dykeman up in New York.
You know what's I think?
No, he's a Dominican from Dykeman. I don't know.
Listen, he tried. I think he tries extremely hard not to be a typical Dominican, but at the end of the day, I guess he falls in that typical Dominican line.
He tries not to be the typical Dominican.
Listen, whoever watching the show doesn't understand what a typical Dominican is, just look up typical Dominican and you'll see what's going on. So yeah, basically J-Lo, what the reports are that she feels that Alex Rodriguez cannot be trusted.
Cannot be faithful, and
if you look at A-Rod's career and you look at who he's been and all his the reports that have followed him throughout the years, he did this many times before. He had issues with his wife. His wife ended up breaking up with him because she saw him coming out. Remember, there was a report that they took pictures of him coming out of a strip club with a stripper. And then his wife showed up the next day to the stadium with an expletive, thing on her T-shirt that said "bleep you." It said "bleep you." You can figure out what it said.
Yeah.
He's been linked to many stars like Kate Hudson, Madonna. Imagine that.
Kate Hudson, Madonna. Who else was in there?
Cameron Diaz. Yeah.
He was getting around. I think he was trying to compete with Jeter because Jeter was.
Jeter's a class act. Jeter kept all his situations closed. You never heard any controversy coming out of Jeter's camp. You never
heard Mariah Carey complain about Derek Jeter.
No, you did not, sir. So whatever he did correct. He did the right thing. A-Rod seems to have A-Rod. You know what? He's messy, man. A-Rod, his whole career was messy ever from the time. So you put me onto a YouTube documentary, I guess if you want to call it, about him. Where it pretty much put all of A-Rod's controversies in a nutshell, and it was about his controversy.
Pretty much, it's called why people hate A-Rod.
Why people hate A-Rod? Yeah. Listen, so even when he came out of high school, it was a controversy. Yes. Like he did like a whole thing with the Mariners, with Seattle, trying to come out, and he tried to to strong arm them about the signing, and he didn't want to play with them. So A-Rod is a controversial figure, which is crazy because he seems to have fixed that narrative about him.
He did. When he retired from baseball and he had started doing announcing, I think a lot of people took a liking to him, and it kind of turned the tide on people bashing him but appreciating him for his baseball knowledge and for his being a great announcer. Actually, I think he's actually one of the better announcers on ESPN.
Absolutely. If there's one thing that you cannot take away from A-Rod is that he has personality. He has a je ne sais quoi. You know what I'm saying? Like there's people like when he speaks and when he talks. Even though he brought all this controversy with him, he's still an attractive person in the world, in the entertainment world and in the baseball world. Somehow, some way he gets people involved in his situation, and you want to believe in him, but you kind of hate him. I don't know. He's like a weird character.
Well, he was a big diva when he was younger, and there's a lot of controversy.
According to the reports, yeah, he was.
Well, between him and a lot of players as he was coming up.
Yeah. There's a lot of players that didn't like him because of the situation that he created. The fact that, for example, he was really cool with Jose Canseco, according to what we all heard. We all knew that this was.
He was also really cool with America's favorite shortstop, which is Derek Jeter.
At one point,
even I don't know about now, but to the point where even when they were on the team, they disliked each other and
yeah. But you can also see that he won points when he decided that it was beneficial for him to take third base to join the Yankees,
correct,
as opposed to maybe insisting on being the shortstop, because he gave that mantle to Derek Jeter because he knew Derek Jeter was, he was the Yankees, he was the face of the team. He had a great reputation. Like Derek Jeter has never been known to be have a bad rap. You know what I'm saying? So
he was as they say, he's the face of the franchise.
Right. But it's funny how during all this stuff, we always looked at J-Lo as the person who had the issues with her husbands, boyfriends, whatever it was, and it just so happens that J-Lo had to dump A-Rod because of his personality. Besides, if you guys really want to listen to what we're talking about, and you go into that YouTube, and what is it called again?
It's called,
Rubio?
Baseball Does Not Exist. That's actually the name of the YouTube channel. Baseball doesn't exist.
But the documentary, what was the name of?
The video is called Why Baseball
Hates A-Rod. Yeah, it's pretty interesting to hear.
It's a bit long. It's 30 minutes long, but it's very good, and it fine tunes everything from his earlier stages in the minor leagues, so when he became up and when he got traded to the Yankees and all the drama that followed and so on and so forth, man.
Yeah, it's insane, man. It goes back to his high school days and how they believe that he started using steroids from the time he was in high school because he gained like 20-something pounds between his sophomore year to junior year. I mean, one thing you can't take away from A-Rod is that he's a baseball savant. He lives, breathes, and loves baseball,
Which is why he still does announcing today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think his announcing and his ventures and all that, and maybe even being with J-Lo is part of the reason why his narrative has changed a little bit, where he was, again, from that one of the most hated people in baseball to a beloved cat. He's loved. They're not loved, but he's fixed his persona a little bit.
He's cleaned up his image a little bit. But,
throughout all the steroid and all that, he's come out.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a short commercial break, and we're gonna talk about cleaning up their image, because we're gonna talk about the Knicks when we come back.
Yes.
And the Knicks have definitely cleaned up shop and they've done their thing. But we'll talk about it when we come right back, man. Stay tuned. Don't change that channel, man. We'll be right back.
Let's go Knicks.
The Sala Takeover, powered by Millennium TV. Your main man Rubio, alongside my brother Willie Will.
What's up, my brother?
We coming back, man. Listen, we coming back with this segment with full strength. You know what I'm saying? Energized, because you know what? My man, I got the big old number 8, and this is for Gary Carter, man. I know it's a Met thing.
Yeah,
but right now I'm wearing it today because the Knicks got 8 in a row, bro.
Yes, my brother. You're actually talking about a win streak. You're actually talking about the longest win streak currently going on in the NBA. Yo, my man. Listen, as a Knicks fan, I'm excited, man. I know you are too. That's the one thing we have in common. Thank God.
Yes.
Because with the whole baseball situation,
about it.
Whatever it is,
it's still basketball season.
Listen, the Knicks
right now. You're still my compadre right now.
Listen, the Knicks are 33-27. Again, let's go back. Good. Vegas had the Knicks this year only at the beginning of the year, only winning, I think, 17 games. By ESPN standards, they were prognosticated to win 22 games, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
We're at 33 games.
Blowing the doors on expectations.
Yeah, bro. It's freaking exciting, man.
It's a great feeling.
Like being baseball fans and seeing what our teams are doing and looking at what the Knicks are doing. Yo, I'm like excited to the max, man.
Yeah, man.
Everyone is chiming in. Even LeBron. LeBron.
Listen, and that's
crazy. Better. LeBron literally stated it's better for the league when the Knicks are winning.
Oh yeah, you know what? Listen, hold on. I'm gonna talk about that because I did see that statement. Oh, it's better for the league when the Knicks are doing what they do. Why didn't you come to New York, LeBron? Why?
Because the New York wasn't cool. New York didn't have the stability. New York, I mean, bro, you got to be a realist. I'm a fan.
You're telling me if LeBron James would have came to New York, you're telling me the people wouldn't have wanted to flock to New York?
Of course, but at that time, the Knicks were not cool. Like KD said, they're just not cool.
Turn the page. What?
But
opportunity for you to be the face of the franchise because is struggling and been in the depths of
because my friend, at the end of the day, LeBron James does have power when he goes to teams to pick and choose teammates, and he can pick and choose certain things.
Making super teams,
right? He can basically guide the narrative of that team. But if the stability and the front office isn't there to give him that support, LeBron James can't do nothing. So when you got an owner like James Dolan, who isn't the kind of guy that gives his players any type of support, like the Lakers, like Miami, like some of these teams that when they get these guys, they can actually say, listen, I want you to get me this guy. I want you to get me that guy to play with me. Then it doesn't matter if you're LeBron James. It doesn't matter if you're Michael Jordan. You can't come into a team and say, this is what I want to do. A guy like James Dolan is going to be like, bro, it's my team, just because of ego. His ego is larger than whatever player or whatever team he puts together.
I need to chime in because, at the end of the day, I think that's one of the key things that has helped the Knicks franchise this year is the fact that James Dolan has stepped back from it.
Absolutely.
And let Leon Rose.
Leon Rose take over the team.
Leon Rose take over the team. Listen, he's like, I give you the reins and I trust in you. I believe in you. Do what you need to do with this team and get it back on track. And listen, I'll be the first one to admit, I would have been happy with the Knicks. Like I've said before to many people, give me a winning record. That's what I want.
Absolutely.
You don't need improvement because I know when you're rebuilding, you can't expect the team to change from one day to another.
So you know what, my brother, you don't even for this year, we weren't even expecting a winning record.
No,
we were expecting a team that was going to fight. We were expecting a team that was going to be in games that maybe lost by 2 points, 5 points.
I just wanted them to be above 500. That's it.
Yeah, but the expectations this year wasn't that they were going to be a 500 team. The expectation was that they were going to be a team that was going to scrap and they were going to fight, and Tom Thibodeau was going to have them playing defense. So we were going to be in games, by 5 points, 2 points, like we've seen them with the Nets, with Miami, with the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? So
it gives us so much hope, man. Like, we're right there, man.
Absolutely. But what the Knicks have done this year, they've overachieved that expectation that everybody had. Coming into their season.
That's a big fact.
Everybody thought, okay, so maybe they win 20 games. You know what? But Tom Thibodeau is going to have them fighting. Maybe the rookies are going to play good. Yo, look quickly.
Much praise.
Much praise
to Tom Thibodeau. I understand you want real quick. I don't want to interrupt.
I'm gonna vote. I'm gonna vote for him to be coach of the year.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I know because I know you want to talk about Emmanuel quickly. But let me just say, man, Tom Thibodeau, what he has done with this team is incredible,
unbelievable,
and it's crazy because one of my guys who I work with, man, he said it. He was like, once he seen that the Knicks went and got Tom Thibodeau, he was like, bro, he was like, the Knicks.
Yeah, we all did.
He was like, listen, the Knicks might not be where they are now, which is, like you said, is unexpected. But he's like, with getting Tom Thibodeau, he's a defensive-headed coach. He's going to play these guys to play defense heavy because good defense leads to good offense, man.
And you knew he was gonna bring he was gonna change the narrative of the team. He was gonna change the culture. The culture changed. That's these guys are having fun.
Yeah, man.
They like each other. They interrupt each other in their press conferences. Come on, man. That shows
joking around and stuff like that.
Yeah, that shows a brotherhood. And that brotherhood allows them to be able to play together and to mesh and to be able to do what they're doing right now, the way that they're doing it, man. It's unbelievable what's going on. Man, the fact that they got an 8-game winning streak, that, bro, we haven't seen that since 2014. Since 2014, we haven't seen that. So my point is real quick before you take me out, because I know this. If you look at the standings and you look at what they're doing and look at the teams they're going to play, it isn't impossible to say that with teams like Brooklyn that are really not meshing yet and that are kind of falling apart because of injuries and this, that, and the other. Yo, don't be surprised. I'm just saying, don't be surprised that you turn around and the Knicks are in maybe not the Eastern Conference Finals, but maybe in the semifinals round.
I'm all for it, man. I love it. I'm soaking it all in right now because you know what? New York basketball is back. Real New York basketball is back. Don't give me this Brooklyn
defense, baby. New York basketball defense.
Let's bring it back, man. I'm loving every minute of it, man. Listen, but we're going to have to take a short commercial break.
Nice.
We'll be right back. We're going to continue what we got, man. Love it. Let's keep it going, man. Go New York, go New York, go.
We'll be right back.
Be right back. Welcome back to Sala Takeover, powered by Millennium TV. Your main man Rubio, alongside my brother Willie Will. As we were talking, man, before we went to commercial break, man, the Knicks are doing what they're doing. They're winning games. They're leading us to playoffs, playoff hopes. Let's hope.
Yeah, absolutely.
As of right now, they're in the 4th seed playing the Hawks. If the season ended today, they still have a couple more games to go. Mm-hmm. But right now, man, this is where the hype is at. New York has become and has resurged as the Mecca of basketball, as they say.
Absolutely. Listen.
I'm all for it, man.
Right now, the Knicks have, I think, one of the biggest momentums in the league. They have like I said before, they have the longest win streak right now out of anybody in the league. And basically, let's say right now, if the playoffs will start now, they would play the Hawks, which is the number 5 seed. So technically, we've already beat the Hawks 3 times this year. Right. So if we go back into the playoffs and we got to play a 5-game series, we got to beat them 3 out of 5 times. We've already done that this year. So we're looking at possibly getting out of the first round. Like things are looking a lot better. Yeah. Things are looking a lot better.
Definitely beats my expectation. My expectation of the Knicks was just give me
not just yours. Not just yours. We were hoping that the Knicks would just be a team that would look competitive this year.
Exactly.
The teams have actually super exceeded that. And they're a 30 and change win team, which is amazing. I mean, albeit in a shortened season, but they're looking good, man. I'm not even lying. Like at this point, we look at the Knicks and they can basically beat any team out there.
I mean, if they can't, they will definitely give them a run for their money.
They're going to give them a run for their money and give them a hard time. Yeah.
And as we've seen, they've done it with the Sixers. They've done it with the Nets. And it's good to see.
You know what's sick? When they played the Nets and they played the Sixers and they lost those games, they weren't even playing as good as they're playing right now.
Correct.
So, I mean, think about it. I mean, it's all hearsay. It's all maybe. It's all like in a fantasy world. But let's just say that they play, which again is not out of the realm that they might play one of these teams in the playoffs. But if they continue to play the way they're playing right now, they might be able to overcome a game like they've lost previously in the last couple of weeks to those teams, the Nets and
I think I think the fan base is just ready. They're ready.
We're hyped, man. We're hyped. We're happy. We're excited.
We get
100%.
We get it. They've definitely exceeded expectations.
Yes.
So for them to be even in the playoffs and at the position they're in right now, it's insane, man.
Yeah.
So I think we're all ready for it.
Yes,
I don't know. Are. We can. The great thing is that we have the Knicks to do that. Right now, the baseball teams are looking real suspect, bro.
Listen, at least we have the Knicks. Thank God we have the Knicks, my man. Because
when was the last time that statement was said? Thank God for
that's unbelievable. Yo, do you realize that the team that kept New York sports alive technically was the Yankees for the last 3, 4, 5 years?
Yep.
And even before that, we haven't won anything for the 11 years, over a decade. But the Yankees were that team. So now we have the Islanders who are doing well. We have the doing well. And the New York baseball teams who were the teams that carried us, the Mets did good, 2016. They were like
2015.
15, 16, they were right there, whatever the case may be. But right now, the New York baseball teams, man, they're looking mad suspect, brother.
They're looking real suspect, man. Both of the teams seem to continue to struggle with men in scoring position, which I think it'll eventually come around because as you continue to play more games, you'll find your groove, you'll find your rhythm. And I know that the Mets, that's justify their losses or justify their insufficiency in hitting, because I'm one of the first ones to be critical about it. You still need to score. You cannot allow to have, 15 to 14 men on base and not push them through, because that at the end of the day will cost you the game.
But you know what's also a problem? That just like basketball and just like how the Knicks are winning with defense because they have the best defense in the league, baseball also is defense is a big part of them winning games. Because let's say your bats aren't giving you the efficiency that you want from them or that they should be, giving you and the productivity that they should be giving you. If you're playing unbelievable defense and your pitching is on point, you hold another team to 1 run, 2 runs, no runs, you still have a chance to win a game.
And well, that's the thing.
The New York teams aren't playing defense right now either.
I mean, the Mets, and that's the thing. I think the Yankees are struggling with defense. The Mets are playing defense, but they still can't get the hit. And excuse me. I think a lot of teams are still waiting. I mean, the Yankees are still waiting on Luke Voit to come back. Luke Voit, who the Yankees got within a trade, hasn't been a key part of their team. He's a big power hitter. He's a first baseman.
Absolutely.
And he's definitely missed in that lineup. I mean, we'll see. Maybe the teams can turn it around.
Yeah,
there's still a lot of time to turn around.
Unfortunately, you have on paper you have Sanchez, you have Stanton, you have Judge, you have guys that should be smacking the balls out of the park. They should be putting the ball in play, and they're really not. They're not doing that.
But that is the reason. That's one of the things, and pardon for my yawn.
Analytics, baby.
But that's the thing. These guys are swinging for the fences.
Yeah.
Contact. Small.
That's
ball.
the whole league. The whole league is like that. I mean, that's basically analytics during the regular season. Yeah. Analytics is taking over, and basically that's the way every team is trying to win games in the regular season. The teams that are actually going to take it to the finals and to the World Series are the teams that play small ball. The teams like the Dodgers that push runs, that steal bases, that bunt.
Who can always get men on base, and when they do get men on base, they find a way to bring them home.
Absolutely. So, I mean, right now baseball is at a funny fork in the road, if you want to call it that. They're not very exciting to watch. They're not really playing the way we're accustomed to seeing baseball being played. And you're a little bit worried about where baseball is going right now. It's actually boring, man. It's not.
Well,
no matter what team you're looking at.
I'm a baseball enthusiast, so I'm still keep on watching. I'm gonna still keep tuned in, and I still believe that there's still a lot of chance for these teams to turn things around.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see where that continues to go, man. Listen, New York baseball still has a lot to overcome.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's still early in the season. With that being said,
hopefully we don't get to May and we're still talking about the same thing, bro.
I hope not. But listen, with that being said, let's keep the Knicks in focus because the Knicks is the team to keep on going, man. We're gonna wrap things up, man. Listen, my brother, it's always a pleasure.
Yes, sir, man. Likewise, man. Same here.
And all I gotta say is, man, thank you for watching us on M24 News in sponsorship of Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV. Don't forget to download us on your Androids and iPhones, man. Stay tuned as we keep on bringing you the heat each and every week. This is your main man, Rubio, my brother, Willie Will. Y'all already know. Stay tuned. Peace.